What's up guys, Killjoy Jake here, and instead of having friends, I have Chucky movies. Today we're going to be ranking and reviewing every single Chucky movie that there is, even the new 2019 movie, which isn't canon to the original series, but we're still going to put it in this list. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you want to see more 80s horror icon movies get ranked. You're probably wondering about the shirt, how it makes any sense to this video, but my girl Poppy, she just put out a new song. Very excited about it. I'm gonna listen to it after I film this video. Alright, let's start ranking some Chucky movies. Coming in at 8th place is going to be Seed of Chucky. I don't actually hate this movie. There's just some scenes that are just a little too low budget feeling, and the plot line is a little confusing itself. But I also really love a lot of aspects of this movie. There's some epic, gruesome, bloody kills that anybody can enjoy watching. Of course, my favorite is the scene where Chucky and Tiffany come back to life and they get that chicken wire around the dude's neck and just cut his head off. The only other thing that bothers me about this movie is Jennifer Tilly playing herself and Tiffany. It's confusing. I admire her commitment to these movies. I mean, for a hot chick to throw herself into these weird Chucky movies like that, I admire it for sure. I mean, most girls are just gonna stand there and say their lines and get their paycheck at the end of the day. There's just some low budget scenes. What I'm really talking about here is the very end scene that's supposed to be in LA. They filmed that in Romania because it was cheaper and they made it look like LA, and oh my god, it looks cheap as hell. They couldn't have filmed that in Jennifer Tilly's backyard or something. Coming in at 7th place is gonna be Cult of Chucky. Yes, you know what? I'm gonna talk about the good things before I talk about the bad things with this one. I really liked the multiple Chuckies all arguing about how they were gonna kill people and how they got there and stuff. That was really funny. When the oxygen tank goes through the glass ceiling and kills the girl, that's pretty awesome. I guess kinda metaphorical, glass ceiling breaking? I don't know. I don't really know. It kills her, so I don't really see how that would be metaphorical, but I'll take it. The thing I didn't like about this movie is that it kind of ends the whole series in a way that I don't really like. Spoiler alert, not that I haven't spoiled already. I'm a killjoy. That's what this channel's all about. It kind of has a pretty ending for all the characters. We finally get to see Andy from the first 3 movies again. It's the same actor that plays him too, which is pretty cool. It just kind of doesn't have the best ending to the series that I was hoping for. That's kind of what I didn't like about it. It was cool to see Jennifer Tilly again in the series. That was fun. I guess there's supposed to be a series coming out that's supposed to continue right from that point, starring Andy in it. So I guess he's not dead. Somehow he's gonna get out of the asylum. He's not dead in there. I don't know, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me, but I'm excited to see where it goes. If that's not the ending, then I'd probably have a better opinion of this movie. Coming in at 6th place is gonna be Child's Play 3. I enjoy this movie. Once again, I don't hate any of the movies in this series. They're all enjoyable, they're all silly, you know what you're gonna get every single time. This movie just it just feels rushed, like they just wanted to get out another movie because they were making money on this series. It has a pretty cool kill at the beginning, but it just cuts away and stuff, so we don't see a whole lot. There's not really a lot of good kills in this movie either. Because they're at a military school, I feel like that takes away from a lot of the aspects of Chucky. A lot of the characters are all military characters. It kind of just doesn't fit with the series. I kind of have the same problems that I have with Cult of Chucky with this movie. Just a weird setting, and the characters don't really fit with Chucky. I do kind of wish that the whole series would have just followed Andy somehow. Just kind of like how Halloween follows Laurie Strode. Not all of them, of course, but those are the movies I don't like. My favorite part of this movie is the barber guy, who's just insane, just cuts hair and he just wants to make it perfect length, and he's always looking in the mirror, making sure that he's oh, this one's getting a little long, gotta cut it. It's what the He went to the Jim Carrey School of Acting, you could really tell. Coming in at 5th place is Bride of Chucky, and honestly, if we were ranking these movies based off of their comedic ability, this would be number 1 for me. These movies are silly, that's what we get from them. They're not very scary. Maybe 1 and 2 are kind of scary, but you're laughing at this thing the whole time. This movie finally embraces that in the series, and I dig it. This movie's funny in a good way. Seed of Chucky gets to the point where it's kind of funny in a bad way, and usually when I say that, it means that it was trying to be scary and serious, but it ends up just being silly. How I mean it with Seed of Chucky is that a lot of the jokes just don't land. But in this movie, I feel like they do. I feel like it is actually very silly. There's a scene where Chucky and Tiffany have sex in like a lover's motel, and that's funny to me. That's very hilarious to me. Where I dock points from this movie is the teen couple that we follow. Their storylines kind of parallel with Chucky and Tiffany's. Chucky and Tiffany are essentially, I guess, married in this movie, and they're going to get married. They're running away, going to get married, this teen couple that I'm talking about, and their characters just are lackluster. There's nothing very interesting about them. It's just a whole subplot line that I feel like could have just been removed from the movie altogether. But overall, this is a very enjoyable movie to watch. I recommend it. Coming in at 4th place is Child's Play 2019. This movie gets major points from me, but I'm also docking a lot of points from it as well. I have some very mixed feelings about it. Epic casting. Some of the best kills in the entire series is in this movie, and it's a remake that did something original. Didn't just take what the very original movie did and just tried to rehash it. No, this movie does its own thing, and I appreciate that. Although it's probably not as a better concept, worse concept, it's a more realistic concept, which I guess some people will appreciate. I'm sure some people will actually like this movie better than the original. Me personally, not so much. This came off as more of like kind of a silly, like make fun of itself kind of horror movie, which is not a bad thing. Just kind of a different direction for the series, I guess. And it was enjoyable overall. It just there wasn't really anything that was scary about it. The scenes that they actually tried to be scary didn't come off as scary. He looks like a marionette doll on crack. I don't really find that he doesn't really have a scary look to him like how he did in the first couple movies. And Mark Hamill singing the Buddy song, I was like actually falling out of my chair laughing. That was so silly. How they got Luke Skywalker to do that, I don't. Coming in at 3rd place is Curse of Chucky. I'm sure a lot of people will disagree with this one as well, but I really dig it. This is a solid sequel that's canon with the original series. I think that the only reason that I'm going to dock points from this is because it's just not original enough to be a sequel, I feel like. There's a lot of unnoticeable things that are kind of rehashing stuff from the first couple movies. But overall, I love the characters, love the creepy setting, and I love that we got to see Andy again, of course. Coming in at 2nd place, and this is gonna make a lot of people happy, is the original Child's Play. Yes, I finally put the original in a 2nd place or lower and not in the first spot. It is time to celebrate, everyone. Pop the champagne, let's do this. I love this movie. It's a horror classic. It has some awesome kills, and it's also just relentless. At the end of this movie, it just takes forever for Chucky to die, and you're just like on the edge of your seat like, oh my god, oh Jesus, oh my god, and then like it kind of ends and you're still not sure that he's really dead even after all the burning, the bullets, and everything. The scene where I also love the scene where she finds that there's no batteries in Chucky and his head just turns around. Hi, I'm Chucky, you wanna play? There's a lot of iconic scenes in this movie. Where I'm docking points though, if you're curious, some of you probably don't give a this is probably the only movie in the entire series that actually tries to be serious, and sometimes it comes off as silly in a bad way. We talked about this concept before, and it rubs me the wrong way. The scene where where Chucky goes to the voodoo guy's house, he's trying to be menacing and kind of scary, trying to intimidate this guy, but he just looks so silly. It just doesn't come off the way that they were supposed to be interpreting it to me as an adult. Me as a kid, I was terrified of this movie because just think about your teddy bear coming alive with a knife and coming at you in the middle of the night. That's horrifying. And coming in at 1st place, this is also going to make a lot of people happy, is Child's Play 2. I feel like this movie is the best in the series because it's the perfect balance between silly Chucky and gruesome kills, which realistically is what I think everybody wants to see out of this series. A lot of people are going to argue that the remake that just came out has probably the most gruesome kills and the silliest Chucky, which is kind of what we want to see in this movie. But the reason I'm not putting that at the top is because this movie, I just don't like Mark Hamill as much as Chucky as I do Brad Dourif. Brad Dourif just is the voice of Chucky. His voice just is Chucky. It's iconic. Mark Hamill doing it just wasn't the same for me. This movie is the best of the Brad Dourif movies, and those are Chucky movies. The new one was just kind of like, it was kind of like if they made Chucky today. Like, and it just, I don't know, it just wasn't as it was gruesome, it just didn't feel right. Like how this movie feels like a Chucky movie, feels like everything it's trying to embody. I love where the story goes in this movie. I love the ending, the third act final battle being in the good guys' headquarters, the factory, and it's probably my favorite slasher death of all time when they kill Chucky with the melted plastic and his head explodes. That's awesome. That's probably my absolute favorite slasher death of all time. I'm sure a lot of you are very happy that a sequel finally came in first. See, I'm not a complete madman who just watches the first movie and then just ignores the sequels. Thank you for watching my ranking video for all of the Chucky movies. Please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you want to see more crazy ranking videos just like this one. Also, don't forget to follow me on Twitter at KilljoyJake1 if you want to recommend stuff to me, just want to send me some horror junk, some memes. I'm all about that. Anytime you want to tweet at me, go ahead. And don't forget to kill it out there, y'all.